I really urge you to go check it out. And thank you to Ragnarok Origin once again for sponsoring today's video. Almost 2 years ago, I released the first video of mine that would really blow up and take my channel from 10,000 subscribers at the time to 25,000 in less than a week. And even though that video being the beauty of the angry character holds a special place in my heart, that video is absolute trash. I didn't really do the title justice and go into a deeper dive into the emotion of anger and why it's such a strong tool for portraying impactful moments and I think a great vehicle for storytelling, period. Why do we love to see a character go absolutely ballistic and let loose? But even more importantly, what can you and I learn from these absolute chads? Side note, speaking of Alpha Sigma Sigma Ligma males, I've been watching Fate. Not by choice, I'm being held hostage in Brazil and being forced to watch it. And I must say I'm really enjoying it. Kire though is an animal in all the right ways. Pulled up to the woods and showed that he believes his equal right should hit as hard as his equal left. Cause oh my, did he go Chris Brown on the— Anyways, I really like the idea, I really like some of the other characters, the animation's really good, but the character I wanted to mention briefly is the Berserker, mainly because I need some sort of transition considering that I just left the original topic of the video. But anyways, I think the Berserker is a good surface level look at an angry character and why we like them. Let's just be honest, they're just cool, and more than just stoic cool, it's cool like I can feel my testosterone rising. There is a undeniable satisfaction from seeing a character do what we sometimes wish we could do. Be stronger, faster, better looking, and most importantly, kill. We all feel anger on very different levels in our life. It can be anything from video game rage to a drunk dad screaming, and if you're a kid named Kyle, it's probably both. But other than being cool, I think the reason anger is so effective in storytelling is because it's used as a great reaction for a vital moment in the plot. You see, a character being angry for the sake of being angry will only go so far, just like a person in real life being angry for the sake of being angry can be pretty annoying. But when you see a character's anger used as a reaction to an event, it creates a loud and standout moment, and also a connection with the audience. The reason it makes such a strong connection is because of the root of the angry feeling. In fiction, we most likely won't relate to the exact details or events a character goes through. If you did, I'd be extremely concerned. But it is the expression of the character that connects. Again, the root of that expression. When it comes to anger, there are 4 main roots upon research that I found, and that's fear, shame, betrayal, and self-righteousness. Now, self-righteousness I won't address too much, although you can see at times, especially in an antagonistic role, where this character feels above somebody else, or in the moral high ground, therefore when they are challenged, they are upset. So when an antagonist has this self-righteous anger that comes about them, and it can also be a protagonist who strives for justice, it's cool, it's badass, they take action. However, in real life, it's a lot more lame, as I think the most frequent use of quote-unquote self-righteousness is either on Twitter or on your local political subreddit. However, it is the other 3 roots of anger that I think are more frequently used and are just more easy to connect to as a reader or as a watcher. The first one I want to address is fear. As the old saying goes, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to League of Legends. Thank you, Master Uguay. The connection with fear and anger is undeniable, and I think it's one that we can see characters portray within a story, as well as us in our own life. We fear certain things happening, therefore we take action to prevent those things. We fear further damage happening to us in our life, therefore we build up walls. We do things in order to prevent our fears, therefore we take action with great urgency and adrenaline pumping through our body. Fear is one of our primary emotions, and so is sadness, and many times that can be found underneath the surface of what seems to be this unbridled rage and wrath. Now I want you to think of a character who's ever done this, or a character that fits this description. But oftentimes, a character will do something out of anger, out of the fear that a certain event will repeat again. A certain traumatic or painful experience will happen twice, and they can't bear the idea of having to go through it again. So the feeling of anger isn't as simple as it might seem, as it always comes with another emotion attached to it, or it usually does. But the root of fear and how anger can come from that is something we can all connect to as people. Because we're all scared of something. And the ones behind these stories and these characters that we love are human as well, so they might share the same fears as we do. And the same goes for shame and betrayal. Whenever a character goes through those things, it instantly connects to a certain moment we have in our life. And even though we might not be thinking of that moment in particular, the emotions from our subconscious rise. And so in a way, I view anger as the flawed human response to the difficult moments we have in our life. So even though we've kind of been desensitized to characters bursting out in rage, just like the concept of death within a story, I think when a character is angry, I think is when a character is equally vulnerable and human. That's why I called anger our flawed human response, because anger isn't perfect. It comes with its consequences. It can be reckless. It can get innocent people involved. It's natural for us as people to get angry, to be sad. But just like as we see with characters we love, if taken too far, it can have more consequences upon ourselves than we might even be aware of in the moment. Now, admittedly, I'm a very impulsive and passionate person. Well, when it comes to the things I care about, if I'm not really interested, then I won't care at all. So it's one of those two extremes. But when crap hits the fan and things go bad and I react out of anger, I notice it's almost as if I don't react out of anger and I don't allow myself to just push forward recklessly, then I'm not too sure if I could move forward at all. Anger and the way that it's portrayed in media shows that the flaws of it are present with characters like Kratos, like Guts, but it also is equally inspiring and motivating. That desire and that will to move forward in life no matter who's hurt you, and to just say, screw it all, I'm gonna continue doing what I need to do. And the journey of a lot of these characters seems to be finding the right balance. They go through a difficult moment in life, they push to the brink extremes of what anger and wrath is capable of taking them, and then they find a middle ground where they realize, that wasn't the best answer, but it was the only one that I had at the moment. And I think that's where the great satisfaction comes from with these type of characters. When they are going through their vengeful or angry state, it's incredibly motivating. It makes you think that if this person could go through all these difficult things in their life and still push forward, then what excuse do I have? So there's almost this non-stop thrill and satisfaction with these type of characters. At the beginning, their rage and their vengeance pushes them, and that can mirror a certain stage in our own life. It's cool on a surface level, but on a deeper level, as I brought up earlier, it's the reflection of inner pain and how they deal with that pain. And then as they go on, either as characters they continue in that state and they just escalate how cool and badass they get, i.e. Doomslayer, or over time they mature and mellow out and reflect on the consequences of their past. Some characters do have that reflection even during their vengeful state. So throughout this entire journey of this angry character, the one with the chip on their shoulder, it's a reflection of different stages of stuff we've all gone through. And I really think it's this formula that provides us with some extremely memorable characters. Guts, Kratos, Doomslayer, Asura from Asura's Wrath, Zuko from Avatar, Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. It's powerful, it's engaging, it provides this rush, motivation, and push in the moment, but then we can also learn maturity from these characters, which leads to an extremely memorable experience. And there's a key word when it comes to this kind of character development, and that's contrast. When you see a character mellowed out, matured, more calm, it provides an incredible look back to see how far he's come from the beginning of the story. And I think the message is so powerful when you have a character who has exploded in rage in the past, because that loudness contrasted with this silent meekness, this more relaxed and peaceful state, is a very evident development that can go very deep and nuanced depending on what character you're talking about. And it's also such a beautiful contrast to just all the other emotions that character can depict. Because when you have someone whose primary reaction seems to be murder, and guess what? Murder. When you see them have a moment of regret or guilt or just pure sadness, it stands out even more. So overall, I just think it's a formula that works extremely well. And so I really encourage that if you fall upon a character who you would classify as predominantly angry, try to see what the stories try to present with their underlying trauma or sadness. And, I think it could lead to a bigger appreciation of these characters than we might have had before. This kind of subject can be a little bit nuanced, has a lot of gray areas to it, but hopefully I was able to put into words the actual appreciation and love we have for these type of characters. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications. That way you never miss an upload on some of your favorite anime, manga, or whatever content. As always, this has been The Masked Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and peace.